Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rola and I'm the Fund Director from Amplify Change. It's an honour for Amplify Change to support Awaz Foundation to run the Ujala network with its 44 partners in Pakistan. Civil society organisations have such an important role to play in advocating to government for the realisation of sexual and reproductive health and rights. And advocates should always use a strong evidence base to convince government, and that is exactly what Ujala present in these research findings. I would really encourage you to watch this short, informative film. It's also commendable that Awaz Foundation does not shirk away from the most challenging issues, but acknowledges that everybody in society has a right to health needs. It is only when we advocate for all that we can make sure no one is left behind.
Awareness on reproductive health and rights plays a pivotal role in allowing societies to understand the challenges and requirements of men, women, and young people, and it serves as a cornerstone in helping governments to introduce appropriate laws, policies, and their successful implementation to ensure rightful spaces and choices of life for people. Committed to achieving Sustainable Development Goals, and being a signatory to the International Convention on Population and Development and Family Planning 2020, the government of Pakistan over the last few years has launched some laws and policies to reduce gender-based violence and child abuse as well as to empower youth, and has made efforts towards implementing them. However, reluctance prevails while discussing issues related to reproductive health and rights at a societal level, and hence, it serves as a major hindrance in spreading awareness on the subject, leaving scores of individuals, young people in particular, vulnerable to abuse, exploitation and life-threatening diseases like hepatitis B and C, HIV/AIDS, etc. Therefore, to support the government in its ongoing efforts and with the objective to map the precise situation with regard to reproductive health and rights in the country, Awaz Foundation, Pakistan Center for Development Services with support from Amplify Change and with the help from 44 partner organizations from across the country, launched a first-of-its-kind program titled Ujala that creates rightful spaces and choices of life for young people in Pakistan. Under the initiative, a comprehensive research on the state of reproductive health and rights with a focus on rights was conducted in 44 districts across Pakistan. Some key findings of the research reveal that 73.1% of the respondents had no counseling services in their area to provide awareness on competitive skills, body rights, challenges associated with puberty changes, and consequences of risky behaviors, even though 78.5% were in favor of such initiatives. It was also revealed that cousins and friends were the primary sources of information for most young people in Pakistan regarding their reproductive health and rights. Moreover, 62% young people and 81% healthcare providers were in favor to give reproductive health rights-related classes in schools to ensure that correct information is passed on at a suitable time and through an appropriate source so that the next generation can be kept safe from violence and abuse. Pregnancy in less than 2 years of a childbirth came out to be the number one reason why emergency contraceptives were prescribed. Poverty, underage pregnancy, and cases of pregnancy without marriage were next on the list. A significant number of adults, healthcare providers, and young people who were interviewed conceptually lacked awareness on HIV/AIDS. 73.8% adults and 81.3% young people were firmly of the view that their confidentiality regarding reproductive health issues is not kept private by healthcare providers and that there is a need to train the staff on privacy and confidentiality protocols. From the responses, it was evident that a significant number of respondents knew of incidents where young people, especially girls, were forced into marriage. 69% of adults, 77% of healthcare providers, and 68% young girls who were interviewed during the research believed that the ideal marriage age for girls is somewhere between 22 to 24 years, while for boys it was considered to be between 24 to 28 years. Respondents were also of the view that 18 years is far too early an age to marry girls. Early, forced and child marriages as well as exchange marriages were the most common of the different undesirable marriage customs prevalent in the country. Respondents were also of the view that 79% people in the society treat the transgender with disrespect. 54.6% adults shared that despite restrictive laws, health facilities are offering services relating to abortion. However, only 36.2% adults were satisfied from the quality of post-abortion services. 11.6% of the adult respondents and 14.8% of the healthcare providers also reported of being victims of marital rape. 75% people living with disabilities shared that they have experienced gender-based violence at least once in their lifetime, and hence, people with disabilities emerged as the most affected group because of crimes relating to gender-based violence. It was also revealed that despite the need, influential figures, including religious leaders, landlords, MNAs, and MPAs, hardly ever made an effort at the community level to speak about issues relating to reproductive health and rights. In light of the findings that came out of the research, Awaz Foundation, Pakistan, and its partners made a list of recommendations. These recommendations highlight the need for the government to run behavioral change campaigns with the objective of making communities more receptive to the idea of reproductive health and rights education for their children. It was also identified that portrayal of women in media needs to significantly improve so that the masses begin to accept them in more empowered roles. Moreover, it was also acknowledged that there is a need for the government and the civil society to work in collaboration so that reforms can be introduced in the educational curriculum to add information on reproductive health and rights. School teachers and healthcare providers can be provided essential training on the subject. Steps can be taken to ensure that healthcare providers have access to schools where they are able to freely hold informational seminars with students regarding their reproductive health. Media, including print, electronic, and social media, can be extensively utilized by both state and non-state actors who are working on important issues such as family planning, reducing gender-based violence, and noxious masculinity. Rules of business for all existing laws aimed at curtailing gender-based violence can be formalized by the provinces on priority to ensure their immediate implementation. Policy can be devised to ensure that the minimum age of marriage across Pakistan is 18. Special efforts can be made to ensure that transgender children are enrolled in schools and later given preferential seats in higher education institutes. Awareness can be raised with regard to the rights of transgender people as well as laws relating to marriage, abortion, domestic violence, harassment, cyberbullying, and HIV/AIDS. Awaz Foundation Pakistan and its partners under Ujala hope that the program's findings and recommendations will go a long way in creating an enabling environment for all stakeholders and will help in improving the state of reproductive health and rights in Pakistan.